What is going on, everybody? We are back once again with another edition of Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast. It is Saturday, December the 7th. We've got some NXT action coming up tonight, which we're fired up about, and we'll get into that later, but not right this minute. We've got the next, 40 plus minutes to cover last night's SmackDown, the Survivor Series Fallout. I'm hyped to get into it. I've got a sweet crew hanging out with me as usual. Talk about a dude I've been hanging out with all week. It just sometimes the stars align. And when it comes to Clark and Shad shows this week, the stars have been in alignment.
We talk about it.
The Tuesday Night Delight was good, Shadi.
My good brother, man. I'm doing blessed. Yeah, we filmed last night for Sunday Spotlight. That's going to drop tomorrow, regular time. And then, we doing a show tonight too, bro. We got the NXT
and Wednesday and Thursday.
Yeah, we definitely locked in. We locked in. I need that shirt, bro. Clark Taylor guy, man. Send that through.
Exactly. All right. Up next, though, not even a last second fill in here, but just a last second arrival for maybe the first time in ages. But stoked to have him, as always, our head of reviewing, the captain of North of the Border himself, Coby Galenzoski.
Boom. And I mean, of course, I am here. I have showed up. I mean, it's the DIY where Gargano looks at the crowd. And of course, that's kind of the big news here DIY's turned heel for the first time on the main roster. And of course, we'll get to talk about it. But of course, it's been a solid week of wrestling from every show. And of course, it's going to continue tonight with Deadline. It'll be a pleasure to review that as well. And of course, watch it with the crew. But it'll always be a joy to be a part of that.
No doubt. Happy Saturday, Cobe. Speaking of DIY, like you mentioned, I was thinking Captain Charisma when you were going here, the peeps, but that's neither here nor there. DIY does not only turn heel, but win gold. They did it themselves last night against the Motor City Machine Guns. You got to dig it. I'll actually go to you out of the gates here. You brought it up in the intro. Talk to me about DIY turning heel and winning the gold.
Well, I mean, that's kind of what the topic is going into SmackDown, it was all, okay, it's Machine Guns versus the Street Profits, because the Street Profits are going to get the title shot that they had ruined to them, so they're going to get another one because of the controversy. Now, they get taken out, and it can only be assumed at this point that it was DIY. Or even if it was just Ciampa who attacked the Street Profits, Gargano gets his title shot like he's been promised, and Ciampa continues to go, well, no, we should have had this shot a month ago, and now you still have to choose them or me, Shelley or me, and ultimately he gives the low blow. He low blows Chris Sabin during the match, and it was a solid match because it focused on those tensions. Of course, you have the relationship between Gargano and Alex Shelley, but it really highlighted Gargano and Ciampa. Gargano got booted by Ciampa off the apron. Gargano finally got revenge for Ciampa pushing him multiple times the last few months. And now Gargano finally did as well. And you had the tease of, so Ciampa's going to leave. It really was kind of exciting, and it focused on that relationship. So eventually when the heel turn happened, it very much proved that it was like, okay, this was a part of that.
It was psychologically sound.
You had Gargano say, that worked. So, I mean, it was a part of the plan.
It was very psychologically sound the way it was delivered, to your point. I think you broke that down pretty perfectly there, Cobe, right? Like everything added up. And the Johnny Wrestling part of it is definitely unexpected just because, right? Like DC Warlord in the comments even said that. We got Mark Witz on here with Happy Saturday, fellas, just while I'm up reading comments. Evening, folks. Hope y'all have another weekend upon us. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Gargano heel turn, yes, unexpected, but at the same time, he's done a good job as a heel. I just think it's unexpected because in the current context of DIY, it was unexpected, but the story through the steps, you know what I mean? And that made a lot of sense to me. Shad, what was your opinion on it? We got new tag team champs, and that's interesting to me, though. The Motor City Machine Guns, I thought, deserved their run, but it doesn't necessarily feel like so much of a run now because they kind of won it in their debut and didn't really get to hold them for very long.
Yeah, so I'm more excited for the storyline that we are about to embark in. I feel that with pro wrestling, I think sometimes fans want everything to kind of be copy and pasted when we talk about title reigns. You know, if it's not a long lasting title reign that goes within a, I don't know, 4 to, plus month plus year title reign, is it really a dominant title reign? And in the case of Motor City Machine Guns, they don't necessarily need to be dominant champions. They aren't too big enforcers that can just go ahead and dominate and wreck through the division. They are true white meat baby faces, and they lost due to unfortunate circumstances with a team, obviously getting the match in a heel tactic, also off the standpoint of winning in a heel tactic. And in my mind, I feel like it's something that is interesting because now we have these two teams that obviously this isn't the last time they're going to have this rodeo. But then we also have the Street Profits. They were taken out earlier. They were supposed to have the title match against DIY. I would even like if the Street Profits win in a tactic to beat DIY, then they become the champion. We just kind of get a hot potato between these three tag teams, and then we lead off to one big time match, whether it be at a Rumble, a Mania, whatever it may be, that type of situation helps because it makes the storyline different and it makes it interesting. And also we've been flirting with the idea of like the Street Profits possibly breaking up, DIY possibly breaking up, New Day possibly breaking up. It's cool to kind of have it alter in what we thought we would have, right? We thought maybe Woods or Kofi would have turned on Monday. It didn't. They turned on Big E, and now they're a heel faction. It's cool to see Gargano fall a line with Ciampa and kind of buy into what he did and them having success. We've seen them as heels before, right? So it kind of puts you on a little bit of a swerve, and it's something a little different. And I think it's not the end-all, be-all for Motor City Machine Guns. I think they'll be fine. I'm sure they'll probably get the title at another point, but it adds interest into the tag division. I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah, that's the most important thing. I agree. I mean, it adds interest in that we're talking about the tag team division out of the gates, but I will say this better be the start. I mean, I've said it 100 times this year, but it's not been a good stretch for tag team wrestling across the board. It's not just WWE. I'm not just like trying to pile on here and be negative, but truth be told, tag team wrestling is in one of the weakest spots it's been in, I think, since the pandemic, since 2020. And it's frustrating to me. I like the victory. I like the heel turn. You now have a definite heel tag team. We need a face challenger. That's not necessarily just the Motor City Machine Guns. Maybe more than one. Maybe another one. Yeah. And I don't know. And Bill,
what do you think? What do you think the direction of the Street Profits will align? Do you think there'll be more heels, or do you think there'll be more
baby faces? I love the Street Profits as baby faces. I don't necessarily. I feel like if it ain't broke, don't fix it with the Profits. Let the Profits be the Profits and have fun and put on great matches. And I think we'll get back to the point that they were at, where they're one of the most valuable teams. They still are one of the most valuable teams in the industry, but they're at the top of the industry if we allow the Profits to be the Profits. I think we've been trying to put square pegs and round holes with the Street Profits now for a long time, and it's just give us the red cups back, give us the Street Profits having fun, even if it's the local team gear stuff. You're selling merch doing that. Something along those lines, back to what made the Profits the Profits.
I think this kind of confirmed that they're going to break up maybe not now, but they're going to break up in the future, because I can definitely see the Street Profits winning the titles and then Angelo getting pinned and being the reason, or maybe Montez gets pinned and he's the reason they lose, and Angelo snaps and turns on him. Like the fact that Gargano and Ciampa didn't break up and the New Day didn't break up, I don't think they were gonna break up two teams in one,
I don't
cycle
want it to
of
be
a
the Profits.
storyline. I think it is, man. I think a lot of people.
That's fair.
I think the thing about it is this. I feel like a lot like AEW and WWE nowadays tend to hear the ear of the fans and hear the ear of frustrations. And I think a lot of people have been, beating the drum that they want to see Montez as a single star. And I think they're going to follow suit.
Yeah. Okay. I do think that is fair. Wait a minute. Where did the graphics go here, Cobe? Oh, I found them. We're back. Let's get to our next segment. Sorry.
Well, I was just going to say the one thing that I do want to talk about is, I mean, especially like you said, we just saw a couple heel turns this week. I mean, more importantly, the New Day one's the interesting part, and I think when we look at this one, it's like, okay, we still at least have a defined title picture because you got the Machine Guns, you got DIY, you got the Profits. Monday Night Raw, we just had the New Day turn heel in probably the best way possible that they could turn heel. But now, where the heck do they go from there, especially when the champions are the Judgment Day?
They're heels
too. There's a lot of uncertainty in that picture still. So I don't know if that's an indication that Finn and JD aren't holding those belts for much more than a month or two, maybe. But like, I mean, that's one of the things I thought of a few days ago. I'm like, okay, well now that's not adding up because they are the biggest heel tag team in the brand right now.
Right.
So it's like,
it's an interesting move to now turn the champs to turn a team heel and put the belts on them on the other brand is an interesting juxtaposition there. To your point, Coby, like that's
it is, but they are separate. They're separate
right?
Because it is two separate divisions. But it's okay. Well, now they just became the biggest the heel tag team on Monday Night Raw. But where do they go from there? There's no. What are they going to feud with the LWO? Who yippee like that? Yeah. That's not a good follow up to if you ask me.
Let's move on to our next segment though, because get your watches out, my friends, because I'm excited for this one for Shad. We had a match yesterday. It was a triple threat match, and I know Shad had his eyes on this one. We had Elektra Lopez, we had Naomi, and what time is it? What time was it again, Shad?
It's Tiffy time. It is Tiffy time, bro.
Moonsault ever. Prettiest moonsault ever. Ball game.
Looking extra good yesterday.
Talk to me about it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you. I may not be as happy as I am talking about this topic because although it was a splendid match, although I am a Tiffany Stratton truther, I'm kind of confused a little bit. And I say that more so as the direction of where do we go with Naomi, right? Naomi is somebody that I feel that could have been given the opportunity of advancing in this tournament, given the opportunity of being the first United States women's champion with her stature on who she is, being a very popular professional wrestler, but also being a pretty underrated worker. I feel like it could have been something that she could have been given and helped her establish. I love Tiffany. I think Tiffany, you're not going to hear me complain about Tiffany Stratton getting victories at all, but it just comes off of the brinks of like, okay, she also has the money in the bank and she's also positioned into this. Now, is she going to lose the Michin? Possibly. I'm not sure, but I feel like now in the case of Tiffany won that match, well, then Tiffany needs to get to the finals. And if Tiffany gets to the finals, if it's not going against maybe a Bayley, I don't think she should lose. I think she should probably become the champion. And then you have her being the U.S. champion, but also being Miss Money in the Bank. Now you have the dynamic is, will she beat Tiffany 2 belts? I would probably be happy about that, but you kind of pigeon yourself when you have a champ that has 2 of the titles. Or does she lose the cash in? Or do we continue the cash in for a later date after she loses the U.S. title? Like, it's a lot to think of where I don't think it's necessarily a wrong choice because she is a superstar hometown hero yesterday over as hell in Minnesota. They were going crazy for her, right? But I also gotta put out there that Tiffy might need to be the world champ if she has the briefcase, or we shouldn't have just given her the briefcase if that's the case.
Right.
So now I'm kind of, a lot is going on because it's like, these are new belts. Did y'all know that you was going to get these going into it? It's a lot of like, they got to kind of try to connect a lot of dots.
This is really interesting, Chad, because when I saw this topic, knowing that you're a Tiffany Stratton fan, we had Tiffy Tuesdays on Off the Air for a long time. I wasn't 100% sure what direction you would go on this topic, but I'm actually really glad you brought up the Naomi thing. And
I will show I wasn't
comment
biased.
Really quick. Yeah, we got It's Tiffy Time from DC Warlord. And then I Make Beats said, does Tiffy need to be in the final as she already has Money in the Bank? And she's Nia's right hand. Naomi needed it more IMO. I agree. This is where it's interesting to me, though. And this is the one thing that bothered me about the match. And I really actually wanted to gauge your thoughts on it first before I even expressed this. But do you know what this one told me?
What up?
Dang it. That's the first time they potentially telegraphed that Naomi's the one that attacked Jade.
Yeah.
That was my first instinct the second the pin happened. I was like, dang it, they just gave it away. Naomi attacked Jade.
But even if that's the case, I would have rather had...
Dang it, it's so obvious now it was Naomi.
I would have had Naomi have been the champ and then Jade come back and kind of attack her and then Jade go for that U.S. belt.
Yeah, I mean, either or. Naomi could have advanced, but to me, it was like, if Naomi doesn't get the win, like continues to maybe steam the build, like that starts to build up, and then they're going to give us like little hints along the way until we get to the reveal that it was her that attacked Jade. And I was like,
for sure.
If Naomi wins and it's still her, I'm cool with that, but at least the veil feels less lifted.
Can I say one last thing, though?
Of course. Yes, please do.
Because this wasn't on the topics. And Ben, you are my dog. I rock with you. We need to talk about Bianca Belair versus Piper Niven. I won't go in full detail because I talked about it yesterday on Spotlight. So it's cool. We get to save the topic. But that was one of the best women's TV matches I've seen this year. Bianca Belair reminded you why she is the EST and why she is one of the best professional wrestlers in the world. And Piper Niven ain't no slouch, super underrated. So salute to those ladies.
I could not agree more. And for more in-depth coverage of that, please do check out Sunday Night Spotlight because you do highlight it, I believe, on that show, if I'm not mistaken there, Shotty. We recorded that last night, but remember.
Yeah, it was my moment of the week, no spoiler. But we definitely go in detail. Great episode of Spotlight tomorrow. Y'all should definitely tune in.
Yeah, check that out. Absolutely. Speaking of things to check out, let's get straight into paying some bills, my friends. Let's talk about Demand Progress Plus. If you haven't checked out Progress Wrestling, what are you doing? You're already watching the show. We know you're a wrestling fan. It's too late now. This is one of the best tape libraries that exists. Not only that, everything current, every chapter just gets better and better and better. This current roster is off the charts, and some of your absolute favorites are on this platform. Not only that, we're going to give you a discount. Use code WatchProgress1 to get 50% off your first month on Demand Progress Plus, the home of Progress, Defy, and many more promotions. And one more time, that code is WatchProgress1. 50% off your first month on Demand Progress Plus. Let's keep it rolling over here to our next topic. Let's talk about Twitter or X or car interviews, or Kevin Owens or all of it. It's the weather in Minnesota. There's a lot of things involved in this one. It's 20 degrees outside. Apparently that's too cold Fahrenheit for Michael Cole. I was like, 20? Not cold enough. 0, maybe. 20? Come on, man. Just bundle up. Go get the interview. You're a journalist. Get after it. Get out there. Get to the car.
That's below freezing.
No, it's just a little below freezing, Coby. You're from Canada. You should be appalled by this. Michael Cole's a New Yorker. Talk to me about it.
I thought that's how you were transitioning it to me by saying Michael Cole's a New Yorker. And that's it. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing. This is one of the highlights, and I mean, it just shows how they've really knocked down the flow of like these products. Is something's going to happen and it's going to matter later on. Of course, you have like, oh yeah, and then you have the entire Cody promo, and then you have, oh yeah, Michael Cole going, yeah, I got a big interview with Kevin Owens happening. Nope, Kevin Owens sends a video in and saying, nah, I don't want to come into an interview because they told me I have to be here because Michael Cole wants to interview me. And I mean, this is the first time in about a couple months where there's been a bit of comedy in what Kevin Owens is saying, and especially how he rolled the window up in the end of it. But it's still, once again, it's just great stuff. I mean, you cannot tell me Kevin Owens isn't succeeding in what he's doing, and he has a character direction that is justified, that makes sense. And I mean, even then, we sat there and we heard him tease and just slightly mention it. Oh, I'll get to Sammy, something along those lines. But he straight up teased it like he knew what Sammy did, and he knows what Sammy was doing and helping Roman Reigns. And Kevin Owens is not gonna forget. And I think that's the brilliance of this here is, I mean, that it told us that isn't being ignored. Not that I expected it to be ignored, but I mean, it's just brilliant at this point. Kevin Owens is in a great spot. His character's off the charts. He's reinvigorated. His passion's there. And I mean, I'm excited, and I hope he just doesn't get lost in the shuffle in a few months.
I'm 100% with you because I think this vigilante Kevin Owens thing, it's funny. As much as he's a heel right now, he's kind of a babyface. He's like almost
crash out Kevin.
Yeah, he's just like, you know what? No, I'm done being messed around. I'm not going to be just like teaming with people. And I'm sick of all of you guys' BS. You're all drama. You're all drama queens, for lack of a better way to put it. Like,
question for both of you guys then. He's easily Cody's best feud besides Roman, right? His best opponent besides Roman. Like, it's not close, right?
Yeah, not really close.
Are you saying this year, or are you saying in general?
This year. Not
this year, yes. This year,
since he became champion,
Since Cody.
Wow, I mean, he hasn't feuded with Roman since he became champion, but yeah,
that's true too. But yeah,
well, but this is his
Cody wrestling for the title.
Yeah.
It's Cody's best title rivalry.
Yeah,
that's what I would say. Rollins is his best rivalry, period, because that's non-title.
Yeah. I was gonna, that was the only one.
Punk doesn't care about him. He said that.
A lot what Kobe said in regards to him getting lost in the shuffle. Like, I feel like when you watch stuff like this,
I don't think it's going to happen because I mean that's the thing. It shouldn't. We know Randy Orton's waiting, and of course he's going to come back when it makes sense. Obviously, he just mentioned Sami Zayn, so we technically have the next 9 months of Kevin Owens' career because technically his feud with Randy could go to WrestleMania.
He's got like 3 rivalries,
and then after he could go feud with Sami Zayn.
He's also got
however many months.
In the comments,
they got a lot
Sean Ellis
up, but it's
in agreement with character. It was weird. It was weird, which I agree on the car thing. And then this is my favorite one yet. I make beats with Michael Cold. That got me way too good. And then I like how KO invited Cole to his car just to kick him out.
It was a weird interview, though. I'll be real with you.
It was bizarre.
If you talk about Sammy, if y'all saying Sammy, though, part of me selfishly wants KO to win the title, and then we get KO and Sammy for the title at Mania. I don't think it will happen, but that would be dope. Canadians would go crazy, right, Kobe?
I think it'd be after. I think it would be Kevin Owens and Randy Orton at WrestleMania for the title.
That's possible.
And then after would be if it's to SummerSlam.
I feel like Kevin Owens, Sammy,
and I think that's where it makes sense.
Maybe do KO Orton at the Rumble. Keep them both out of the Rumble.
Well, I guess it
Randy
depends.
better win the Rumble if he's in it.
Well, no, have the winner be in the Rumble. Win and you're in. Do something like that. I don't know. I think Sammy and Kevin is a Mania match. Like
Yeah, with their
I
history,
can't believe
it's been a
you
Mania match.
saw all the stuff I did on SmackDown. You saw all that Roman Reigns did to me, and you keep teaming with him, even after last year, even after what you saw, what happened. Like, just lean into that and tell that story and give us another chapter of Sammy Kevin. To me,
No,
that's
that
the
chapter's
match to
written
make.
in the stars.
Yeah, I mean, it's so funky to think about those two standing tall with the tag belts at the end of night 1 of 39 and where the tag division and both Sammy and Kevin are now. Is so it's there's not a lot of linear upward movement when it comes to that one. I don't know.
I mean, they had one pay-per-view defense, and then they lost them.
Yeah, and Minnesota's cold.
Well, we're not debating that.
20 degrees. Too cold for Michael Cole. Unbelievable to me, Coby.
Michael Cold is crazy.
Unbelievable. Michael Cold. Okay, let's move on to our final segment, and then we're going to have to really stretch this because we are the opposite of Up Against Time, which I'm kind of stoked about. We don't usually do this often. We can really spitball. So if you got questions in the comments, hit us with them.
Yo, we could give this last topic. We could even create some trade scenarios if you want.
So I'm going to talk about this last topic because I find this remarkable. As everyone knows, Ben Allison is a good friend of mine, but he put us on a show with 3 North Americans and writes the transfer window as if we're out here watching European soccer and even know what that means. Let's make trades and have free agency like adults, like real sports over here in the good old United States and Canada. Trades and transfers, I don't even know what that means. Stop, knock that off. Stop it. Like, what? Transfer?
I had to look it up when we started doing that Premier League thing. I ain't gonna lie.
Like the transfer. I'm like, dude, the transfer portal I know about, not the transfer window.
Yo, hold up. Wait 1 second. That's what I was literally thinking about was the transfer portal with NCAA. I didn't think about soccer at all.
It's just like the transfer window. I mean, I don't know, man. I think that's the soccer thing.
Is Nick Aldis coach? Is Nick Aldis coach prime, or is Adam Pearce coach prime?
I don't know. I'm fascinated by this. The fact that it's all 3 brands though is the coolest part to me. So, like you said, let's do some hypotheticals. Who's moving where? And let's get the window going. I'll start with you, Shad. You got calls on that? Oh my gosh, I make beats with soccer. You mean footy? It's soccer over here, my friend. I mean no disrespect. Footy, yes. I'll give you footy, but not football. We wear pads and helmets for that.
How many you want one trade each person? One trade each person?
Give me a few.
We'll do okay. Here's what I would do. I am gonna start with NXT. I'm going to, and I don't know when this will happen. Obviously, this can happen throughout the year, but this is what I would do. Tonight, I would have Stephanie Vaquer win the Iron Survivor match. I'd have her defeat Roxanne Perez. I would then send Roxanne Perez to Friday Night SmackDown. I think you put her in the Friday Night SmackDown. I think you have a primetime player in the women's division. I feel like they need more women that are teetering that new mid-card title, but also could eventually get to the top of the card. And I think she could be a flag bearer for the United States champion. She's been a phenomenal champ in NXT. I would send her to SmackDown. From SmackDown, I think I want to go ahead and trade. I think Raw could use some more mid-card type of guys. And I think a good fresh paint would be good for somebody like an Andrade. So I would send Andrade back. I would send him to Monday Night Raw. And I would unite him back with Zelina Vega because she is also on Monday Night Raw. I would have Zelina go back to being heel. And her and Andrade wrecking havoc as a heel team. Maybe having her more of a viable threat for the women's IC, but Andrade just being part of the Intercontinental Division, having matches with Braun Breaker and feuds with Bronson Reed, all of those people. I feel like he can do more on Raw. From Raw, I think SmackDown could benefit having one of these top of the line guys on the card and getting them there and potentially feud with a Cody Rhodes and whatnot. And if I had to pick somebody, man, this is a little difficult. I might put Bronson Reed on. You know what? I'm gonna send Bronson Reed to SmackDown because he can stay with the bloodline. But then I feel like you could also move him up, maybe compete for the U.S. title belt, but also maybe build him up as a main event guy and go against Cody.
Bronson to SmackDown is a fun one. That is a great idea, and I like a lot of those ones that you had. Remind me one more time. What was the first NXT one you said? I'm blanking.
Roxanne. Oh, I gotta send.
Roxanne.
You know what? Scratch that. We're not gonna put Bronson there. We're gonna send somebody to NXT. That's what we gotta do.
There
NXT, we go. NXT could use somebody for the top of their division on the men's side. And I'm thinking who may need a fresh paint, just the opportunity to get a little bit of a jump start. This is going to go crazy, bro. I'm sending the Miz to NXT.
Oh, I love that.
I am sending the Miz to NXT.
Oh, I think that would be really cool. Really, really cool. Especially if he comes in and big times everybody. You could tell a lot of cool stories. And the other thing is that schedule with the lack of travel, by comparison, he can do more of the TV stuff that he's been doing lately. So, like, it kind of does fit him at this stage of his career. It's really not a bad idea. On paper, you think, like, oh, the Miz is maybe too big time for that. But, like, I actually, that is one of the sneakiest good calls of your career there, Shad. I got to give you
I think a Miz, bro, a Miz and a Trick Williams feud on the mic would go crazy.
Oh, talk to me. I love that. Okay, Cobb. Let's get some of your trades. Who do you got? Transfers, whatever we call them. Let's call them trades. We're in North America.
That trade definitely tickled my fancy as well. It does sound interesting to put the Miz on there, but this is like, especially with what they teased, it very much sounds like the way they're holding this is like, oh, they now superstars can negotiate to go to a different brand. They can now, like, the biggest one to me was seeing Gunther appearing and talking to Nick Aldis. And I almost wonder if that's what the move they're going with is the fact that they're, especially since they want to put the heavy hitters on Raw, they're going to put the heavy hitters on Raw, and they're going to, like, and that includes Cody Rhodes. So I almost wonder if they're going to kind of, like, they're going to switch the world champions. They're going to switch a handful of those type of champions and just change the company as a whole in that direction. I almost think that's the move. And that's almost what I expect for trades that I want to kind of put into the universe is, I mean, what I find is important is the fact of the matter is he got relevant when he got kicked out of Imperium the first time. And then they brought him up like, oh yeah, you're just back with Imperium.
Vinci.
And then he got kicked out again. Giovanni Vinci needs something. And if that's an NXT run, working with Javon Evans, working with Wesley, elevating Trick because he's significant as a more athletic wrestler who can work. Like, there's so many things you can do. But I think Vinci to NXT is kind of the first one that stands out because it's someone who needs a spot and needs to do something. And that should be NXT.
I think that's totally fair. That's a great call. Vinci in NXT, I like, but I gotta go. So listen, Sean Ellis and I Make Beats, both friends of the show here, but I gotta put my foot down on this one here. I Make Beats said, put the U.S. title on Gable. American made, it fits. And then Sean Ellis said, oh, Gable sucks. If you see, I'm wearing my Nike wrestling hoodie. And I got the puffy ears under these headphones to match. Gable is a shooter and an Olympian. We will have no Gable putting down on this show. No, Sean. We are good friends, and you're a good friend of the show, but we are not going to make fun of Chad Gable. That guy could double leg and pretzel anybody on the roster if it really came down to it, and that's a fact. Freestyle, folk style, he's got it all. He's that good of an athlete. He's a stud. I would love better for him. I understand right this second he may not be an attraction, but we had a real chance with that rivalry with Gunther, and he was absolutely believable against our current world champion on Raw not that long ago. Not that long ago.
Yep.
Chad Gable is a stud. Speaking of transfers, though, I would not mind Chad Gable going down to NXT because his size and the booking has failed him on the main roster here, as I Make Beats said. And yes, he's not Brock, except for that Brock's not an Olympian. Brock's a big guy that won an NCAA title. He's a more accomplished wrestler than Brock by a lot, actually, to be honest.
Yeah, he is.
He's significantly more accomplished. Yes, he's smaller, but that's why they have
Chad
weight
Gable's
classes.
incredible. He's far from that, bro. You're kind of tripping, Sean Ellis.
I would actually love to see him in the NXT title picture. That was one of mine, as far as it's concerned, because I think putting gold around him, it's interesting. I don't want him to get cringy at all, but he's kind of already done it. And I think a lot about Henry Cejudo, fellow Olympian in the UFC. When he started getting cringy and saying stuff on the mic around that title picture, he became Triple C, right? And he's, the Olympic champion and then 2-division champion in the UFC. Something like that with Gable, where he starts collecting gold more often, that I'm in for 100%.
Yeah.
And no, of course, nobody in U.S. wrestling is more accomplished than Kurt Angle, except maybe Gable Steveson. But that's neither here nor there, because he's NCAA champion and Olympic gold in the same division. And not only that, actually, it was deeper in the year that Gable did it.
Question though, obviously we did we gave the scenarios, but how do y'all feel about just the transfer compared to like the traditional draft? Because I like it. I think shakeups are good.
I'm hoping it's more fun than the traditional draft shot. I'm actually glad you asked that question. Like the traditional draft was cool for a long time. It's now just like too repetitive, and it just provides too much fodder to criticize it. Right? If there was a way to revitalize it, I think it would be by avoiding it, doing something like this, something different, the transfer portal, the transfer window, the trade window, everyone shuffle the deck window, right? Like whatever it is, the free agency period, maybe you call it. I don't know, right? Like, but either way, at least not having, and this is where I think the unexpected attracting fans, to your point, Sean, you can do this with the transfer portal because it's all of a sudden it's like, oh, he signed a deal here. And he's supposed to be here, and commentary can explain that during a debut, or whoever it may be. That if they use that as a vehicle for that, I'm cool with it. Not announced in advance. See, that's what I'm saying is don't announce it in advance, but like, oh my goodness, SmackDown must have gotten Braun Breaker in the transfer portal, right? Like whatever. You can fluff that up and make it feel special in the moment without making an internet post that says like, now on SmackDown or now on NXT, now on Raw.
Here's the other thing. This is definitely playing off of college football. I'm sorry to you soccer fans out there. This isn't about you guys. It was never about you guys. Okay? No one cares about the dynamic of how you guys do business with your players. The transfer portal is an NCAA thing. Guess where a lot of wrestlers are right now? They're at the Big 12 championship game.
They are.
They're not watching a footsie matchup somewhere else. All right.
I was dying.
This is about American football.
Did you see the fight on the sideline? And they showed Jay, and the announcer goes, "That looks like something Jey Uso would do during his day job."
I did see that. That was funny.
Golden, they like panned to Jay. It was so good. And college isn't college anymore, dude. Now with NIL, name, image, likeness. It's pro sports now.
There are some collegiate athletes that are getting paid a lot more than
as an ex-college athlete myself, like 10 to 14, it would have changed my life if I could have gone to school during this era of college sports. Let's be clear, I have nothing negative to say about it other than that I'm bitter that it was 12 years after I went to University of Kansas, because it would have changed my entire college experience.
I make beats. Are you a producer, by the way? I just gotta ask.
Yes. Shad, yeah, this is a good question. Are you a producer? I make beats. Either way, I will say, honestly, we could talk about potential transfers probably the rest of the day. But we got to get ready for deadline. We got all kinds of stuff going on over here at WR. I think that's going to bring us to the end of the show, my friends. Thank you, everyone that tuned in. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. On behalf of me, Clark, Coby, and Shoddy, have an excellent Saturday. We will be back tomorrow, same time, same place. That's noon Pacific. It's, of course, 3 o'clock in the East, 8 in the UK, and 9 a.m. in Hawaii. Have an awesome Saturday. Enjoy deadline. And then check out the Off the Air immediately following deadline right back here on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, X, Twitch, whichever platform you're watching us on. We will be back not very long from now, right after deadline, at least me and Shad. So we'll talk to you all soon and have an awesome Saturday.